I mean, I did not think we'd be talking about this after this game, but
Right.
uh, I'm gonna take some time and have conversations with the folks around here, and then take some time away and make a decision. Obviously, before free agency or anything kind of gets going on that front, but it's fresh right now. It's a little shocking for sure. I don't want to be a part of a rebuild if I'm going to keep playing. So a lot of decisions, in the next couple of months.
I haven't put a lot of thought into it, so we'll just take it day by day and kind of see where we're at. Truthfully, guys, I'm thinking about this game and I'm not thinking about anything past 5 minutes from now.
Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, after their losses that ended their 2021 seasons respectively, not committing to anything for next year. I want to start with Tom Brady because I'm still astounded, Shireen, that so many people are nonchalant about this notion that came up in the past 4 or 5 days that Brady may not play next year. Where'd this come from? He said over and over and over again throughout the season, I'm playing through 2022. And he said before that, I'm playing until I'm 45. We've known all along that next year is the target. He started saying this year that he may play a year or two beyond that. And at one point he talked about playing until he was 50. So this idea that, he remains non-committal, that was the ESPN report yesterday, remains non-committal. He wasn't non-committal. He was committal. He was in. So I don't know what changed. I don't know what the end game is here. There's speculation that his wife, Gisele Bündchen, has said, that's it, that's enough, no more for you. There's some talk that maybe this is just kind of a subtle leverage play to get more of the things that he's looking for by way of input on personnel, receivers, etc. What's the team going to look like? I don't know. I don't get it. I just think it's odd that we've gone from being led to believe by Tom Brady himself. Now, he said back in June on The Shop with LeBron James and company that 90% of the things he says publicly are lies, so who knows. But I just think it's so odd that he had said over and over again he's going to play through 2022, and now it's moved into the undecided category.
Well, and he said it repeatedly, as you said, Mike. This isn't something that he said, changed his tune before, that I'm going to wait until the end of the year. I mean, he signed that extension through next year to help them with the cap, but also he said he'll play until the 2022 season ends, and then he'll reevaluate where he is. So something has changed. Could it possibly be that maybe he's been worn down by Bruce Arians, and perhaps that he wants Byron Leftwich or somebody else to get the head coaching job? Perhaps he wants more say in personnel. Who knows what he wants? Maybe his wife does want him to retire. Maybe she thinks it's time for him to spend more time at home. I can't see him walking away from football, maybe walking away from the Bucs, but I can't see him walking away from football the way this season ended. I mean, that's not how you envision Tom Brady leaving. Like when he threw the pick six, his final pass in New England, I knew that wasn't the end for him. He wasn't going to go out on a pick six. He was going to go somewhere else and win a Super Bowl. He's done that. Maybe he should have walked away after last season on top like Peyton Manning did, like John Elway did, but he didn't. So I can't see him leaving after the way this season ended. May not be with the Bucs, but I think he's going to give it a go once again. If it takes telling Gisele, I need one more opportunity at this before I call it quits, because it's not like he can sit out a season and try to come back. If he's going to do it, he's got to be all in for 2022. I think we're going to see him back, but I'm not positive we're going to see him back with the Bucs.
I can't imagine him playing with a different team. The family seems to be very happy in Tampa. Those are things we've heard repeatedly over the last 2 years, and it's just another year of transition and turmoil, and there's no guarantee that you're going to go somewhere and find something better than what you have in Tampa, although there's a chance in Tampa that if they don't manage things properly, it will go the other way, and the team won't be any better. I mean, look, they brought everybody back from the Super Bowl championship team, and yesterday it was the first game all year that they had their 11 desired starting defensive players on the field together, and they got shredded by the Rams. There's a gap between the Buccaneers and the Rams, and it should not have been a tie game late in the fourth quarter. It should have been a blowout win by the Rams. So the Buccaneers are far from the best team in the NFL. They're far from being one of the best 2 or 3 teams in the NFL right now. What are they going to do in the offseason to try to get themselves back in that conversation? And do you want next year to potentially be worse than this year? Do you not want to make the playoffs at all next year? Although I think that would be a long shot. I think they've got a playoff caliber team. I don't know, and I don't think we'll ever know, at least not anytime soon, what caused this abrupt pivot from I'm definitely playing through 2022 to I'm non-committal about it and I'm day-to-day. And, if you would have asked Patrick Mahomes last night, hey, are you coming back next year? He'd have said, what the hell are you talking about? If you ask Josh Allen, you coming back next year, what are you talking about? Of course why is that even a question? The fact that it's even a question for Tom Brady means we need to pay close attention. There needs to be some reporting. There needs to be some effort to find out exactly what's happening. And we know, because Brady said it himself, he lies 90% of the time. So who knows what the truth is? I assume he's doing his Let's Go podcast tonight with Jim Gray. Maybe he'll have some clues in there. But I can't imagine this dragging out for very long because the Buccaneers are going to have to make alternative plans at quarterback if Tom Brady, for some reason, is moving on. Shireen, I think he'll be back. I think that he's making some sort of a power play, not for money. I just think he wants to remind everybody in Tampa that they want him on that wall. They need him on that wall, and they're not going to have that stadium full of human beings next year if he's not there. And I think he's going to squeeze a little bit to exert some leverage to get some of the things he wants.
Well, and I'm sure he's concerned when he looks at what their salary cap situation is for next year and when he looks at the free agents that they have, 25 free agents, Chris Godwin, Gronk, Fournette, Jensen, Kappa, Sue, JPP, Carlton Davis. You just go down the line. I mean, it's a ton of players, a ton of starters. And Bruce Arians said today we're going to have a hard time putting the band back together for next year. So does he look at this and go, I'm not sure I can win the Super Bowl with this team, sort of like what he did in New England. I'm not sure I'm going to be capable of carrying this team again, because that defense was not the same defense as a year ago. They were not very good. They had a lot of injuries, but you saw it. They just weren't very good in this entire season. And I know they were playing with their starters for the first time all together yesterday, but it just didn't come together. It didn't work. It wasn't the same defense we saw in the Super Bowl that really shut down Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs offense, and that was part of the problem too. But Mike, do you think is Bruce Arians worn him down enough to where he might not want to play for Bruce Arians again? Could that be any part of his thinking?
Levante David said last night that there's been a lot of turmoil with the Buccaneers this year, and not having normal access by media to the locker room, not having normal access with press conferences, etc. There's a lot of stuff that goes unreported, and the Antonio Brown situation had to have been a rough time for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the way that all fell apart, from the fake vaccination card and the 3-week suspension to the way that he was kind of welcome back. That's what he tweeted yesterday. I love a good grudge. I love a good grudge. I know that he probably shouldn't have done it. I love a good grudge. But I feel like there's more that we don't know. And that Bruce Arians bluster, look, I know 20 years of Bill Belichick was all Tom Brady could handle, but I'd like to think after 2 years of Bruce Arians and 20 years of Bill Belichick, Brady understands there's a fundamental difference between the two coaches and understands why Bill Belichick has 8 Super Bowl rings that he's won over the course of his career. And maybe he's just had enough. Maybe he's reached his lifetime limit of Bruce Arians. I don't know. Arians said he's definitely going to be back next year, and he's got a plan for Byron Leftwich possibly leaving to become the Jaguars head coach. He's got a second interview there, and we know that the Bucs aren't bashful about dumping a coach and elevating a coordinator. They did it to Lovie Smith 5 years ago when they made Dirk Cutter, maybe 6 years ago, Dirk Cutter the head coach. They did it to John Gruden and made Raheem Morris the head coach. They are not bashful about kicking a guy overboard and elevating a coordinator, especially like they did with Cutter when they thought that they may lose that coordinator that they valued. So you never know what's going on behind the curtain, and a lot of times you don't find out until they pull the curtain back. So who knows? I'd be surprised if anything like that happens, but because we don't have the benefit of the usual robust reporting that we would in a non-pandemic environment, we don't know the extent of the dysfunction that may be lurking within the organization.
Well, and that's a big thing, Mike. You just don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And if we had a little more insight into that, we might know what Levante David was talking about yesterday, but we don't. So we're left to wonder what's going to happen with Tom Brady, what's going to happen with this team. Are they going to be competitive? I know one thing for he and Aaron Rodgers both. I would much rather be in the NFC than the AFC based on what we've seen in these playoffs this year. I'm not going anywhere where Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow are, and you have to go through them to get to a Super Bowl. To me, it looks like there's a much easier route for both of these guys in the NFC than in the AFC.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.